go straight to the point. The night that those 4 college students were killed, they found a white Elantra circling the house that night. Okay? They found a white Elantra. So they ran an APB on all the white Elantras around there. So the cop over there in Washington sees a white Elantra. Let's run the place who it belongs to. Bryan Kohberger. Okay, it's just a coincidence. It doesn't connect them to the crime? No, it doesn't. Let's see what else. Being that they found the DNA, the touch DNA on the knife sheath, let's get his DNA to see if it matches the DNA on the knife sheath. Bam! It matches the DNA. Coincidence. Okay. Let's see what else we got on Kohberger. He drove over there a month before that and got pulled over there by the 11 King Road address for riding with no seatbelt. And the cop took his phone number. Now, in Kohberger's mind, I could commit these crimes and they could never trace my whereabouts, not knowing that they will pull that phone number up in the future to connect him to the crimes. So let's run his phone number. Let's trace the towers to see where his movement was around 4 o'clock. Kohberger leaves Pullman and drives over to Moscow, circling the house 3 to 4 times, according to the Linda Lane camera surveillance. Okay, so this is just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. The same car that was driving around Kohberger's. The knife sheath that was left in the house, Kohberger's DNA on it. Touch DNA. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Kohberger drove over to 1122 King Road, snuck upstairs, put the knife next to Maddie and Kaylee, and snuck back out. And then somebody else came up there and killed both of them, along with Ethan and Exana, and left the knife sheath. And Kohberger. Come on, y'all. This is common sense. So you say, well, why? What's the motive? The motive was Kaylee. Kaylee is the motive. The most vibrant one out of the bunch. Kaylee. And why on that night? Because Kaylee returned back to town. Dylan drove out to her house and begged her to come down there to go to that game and hang out with Maddie and Exana. And Kaylee came to show Maddie her new Range Rover. To show Maddie her new Range Rover. And what did she post? She put Maddie on her shoulders and say, what a lucky girl to be surrounded by these people every day. Maddie, Exana, Ethan, Dylan, and Bethany. And who saw that? Kohberger. Kaylee's in town. She's in town. Oh my God. This is my chance to do what I got to do. When he went upstairs, where did he go? He went to Kaylee's room first, where Murphy was at. And then from Kaylee's room, he went to Maddie's room. And what did he find? Kaylee in the bed with Maddie. She killed his dreams. That's why he stabbed Kaylee up the most. Because he was in his mind. He was emotionally connected to her. And she betrayed him. And he stabbed her up ripping out her lungs and her liver. He damaged her the most. How could you damage an innocent, pretty girl like that? And in his mind, him and her had a disagreement in his deranged mind when he was stalking them. And Maddie was right there. He can't leave a witness. So he murdered Maddie. She was so incoherent, she probably didn't even feel it because she was so tore up from the corner club. And Ethan and Exana was collateral damage. And then look at the aftermath suspicion. After the murders was done. Kohberger didn't go to work the next day. He didn't go to work. Why? Then he decides he wants to take a road trip from Washington all the way back to PA with his dad. Then they get pulled over. What does Kohberger does? He used some misdirection. Want to talk about some sushi food and Brent Kohberger. Why he bring up Brent Kohberger? Why didn't he bring up the 4 college students who was murdered? Because that would have connected him to it with that white Elantra. It would have made the police investigate him more during that traffic stop. Then he get pulled over again. Then he finally made it home. And he got an inclination that the cops might be on me. Was that coincidence? Or are they on me? So what does he do? He's in a house that he grew up in, walking around with surgical gloves on. He did a forensic cleaning on his car while the FBI was watching him. This is the aftermath. This is the behavior after the murders. Look at the behavior. Look at the behavior. He takes his garbage from his mother's house and put it in a neighbor's house. 4 o'clock in the morning. The same time he left Washington, headed over to Moscow. He's a night owl. Then he puts out surveys asking people in the public who committed crimes, what is their state of mind that will make them commit such crimes? He wanted to find himself in their responses. This is common sense. This is common sense. This is not coincidental. The same car that was seen riding around the house, bam, Bryan Kohberger. We got a person to attach to the car. Okay, we got DNA on a knife sheath. Let's find out who this belonged to. Bam, Bryan Kohberger. That's who it belongs to. Come on, y'all, skip the bull. Kohberger is guilty, no debate. No debate. From the beginning, middle, to the end. Then such a serious crime like this, why don't he stand up for himself? He don't need Ann to speak for him for everything. He could have looked back at Mr. Gonzalez, Steve, and say, sir, I would have never do nothing like that. Speak up for yourself. Speak up. He don't want to put a plea in. And then he want to find all these technical mistakes that could get him exonerated and dismiss the case. Instead of standing up and say, where were you? What's your alibi? Where was you? I was here. No. Kohberger want to go on acquiescence. He want to remain silent. Come on. This is common sense. Just skip the bull. Kohberger is guilty. No debate. And if he was involved with some other people and he's taking all the weight, then so be. the severity of that crime, even if he was just picking somebody up, I would charge him the same as him stabbing him. But I believe it was him. I believe he was desperately seeking Kaylee. He was desperately seeking her. Kaylee's not stupid. She's not dumb. She knows the energy she puts out. She knows how guys respond to her. She told her father, Steve, Dad, I got a stalker. He was showing her how to bust that gun. She should have put it in a Range Rover.